Hey, what's up? This is your girl, Diamond. I go live every Friday at 7 o'clock, and we usually talk about something that's going on in current event, or we will do a deep dive in some type of piece of content. In this episode, we are going to be talking about the documentary Pretty Baby. Um, you know, Brooke Shields documentary on Hulu. Mm, let me see. Hey, Brandon. Hello. Give everybody some time to come in. If you are returning, if you are a returning person, make sure you thumbs up as you come in. Hey, California. Mm. If you are new here, sit back, relax. We will start. We give people like 10, 15 minutes to let people roll in, and then we'll start the conversation. How's everybody doing? You just finished the second episode. It's only two, right? I think. I think it's only two. Yes. I really, really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed, um, everything about it. Hmm. I usually, if you are new here, I usually talk about it um, till we don't have nothing more to talk about, and then the last little 30 minutes, I kind of open it up for any subject. But while we're in the subject of, the initial talk, I usually focus on that. So if you have any questions that pertain to things outside of this documentary, save it to the end. Mm. And as I said, if you are listening and you can't chat, it is probably because you are not a subscriber. And I have the settings set to, because I think somebody hit me up and was telling me that they couldn't comment. Um, I have it set, my settings set to where only people who has been a subscriber for more than 2 hours can actually comment. So if you just within the past 2 hours subscribe, less than 2 hours, you can't comment because you're too new. And I did that because early in my going live situation, some of the trolls, the hoteps, the racists, the transphobes, and homophobes will come in and put the N word, the F word, the monkey sign, and any other kind of crazy foolishness. And so once they allowed us to do that setting, I was it eliminated all that. We haven't had any of that foolishness ever since. So you have to be a subscriber to actually comment. And so if you're within the past 2 hours just subscribing, I apologize, but you can come back next week. You will have your time in. Your probationary period will be over. Or if this one go past 2 hours, then you will be able to comment 2 hours later. Oh, so y'all know I love to show y'all some new shit that I got. So I want to show y'all these sets. So I'm I'm kind of just getting over a cold. This right here, y'all. Y'all know I like to try shit from over in Dubai. So a lot of my shit be having Arabic names that I can't pronounce. But this right here, oh my God, it is fresh, powdery, floral, slightly fruity, just slightly, not fruity as in like kid smell. Um, but more like a really fresh, powdery scent. I freaking love it. And it's inexpensive. So let me give y'all a link to it. It smells so good. It smells like you on a tropical beach. Like you on a tropical beach and you rich and you have on like a fire ass net. Um, you got a white bathing suit with a white net over it where it got these where you can see your body in it, but you can't. You're still cute. Where you ain't just butt naked. It just show your silhouette. It just and you feel the sun on you. You smell the beach rolling. You just feel rich and sexy. That is what this gives me. This gives me bad bitch on the beach, fresh clouds, just light clouds. The sun is out. Ugh, that's what this gives me. So try it out. It's not super expensive. And this one's called for car. I've been wearing that one all day, so I'm not gonna spray this one. But this one, this one is a little bit more fruitier. It's still in that mature, sexy vibe, but this one has like notes of peach. It's like a peachy smell, peach and florals and vanillas. So it's a little bit more fruitier than that one. This one definitely give you more powder, soft, floral with a little bit of fruit. This is more fruit based, like vanilla, fruit, peach, floral. So if you like things that are a little bit more fruity, this one right here is gonna be your jam. And I'm a sucker for cute ass bottles, so that's my take. Let me give y'all a link to that one. And I had somebody ask me on Twitter where did I get my I kind of put some of my I did on my TikTok and on my Instagram. I did a video of my favorite bags that I own. I don't know if I posted it on here. I'm not for sure, but I have a video of my favorite bags. If I didn't, let me know. I'll post it on here. But one of the bags, I call it the Abracus. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I got it on Amazon, and it was like $100. It's super cheap. And so my Amazon store has all of just stuff that I bought, just whatever I bought that I think is cute, and I'll put that there. Books. I just bought the 1 second. Let me show y'all this. I just bought Bell Hooks Communion, The Female Search for Love, because she wrote It's All About Love. I wanted to read this one because I hadn't read this one. So y'all know Bell Hooks is a black feminist icon. So I wanted to read that and see what she talking about. Because even from the first little page, I was like, oh, let me read the first page to y'all. Women talk about love. From girlhood on, we learn that conversations about love are gendered narrative, a female subject. Our obsession about love begins not with the first crush or the first fall in love. They begin with the first recognition that females matter less than males. That no matter how good we are in the eyes of patriarchal universe, we are never good enough. Femaleness in patriarchal culture marks us from the very beginning, as unworthy and not as worthy. It should come at no surprise that we worry about most as girls or as women is, are we worthy of love? And then she goes into this whole sickening thing. I haven't finished it, so I'll give like a review later on. But yeah, I love it. Hey, Andre. Cleo Soul, when I'm in your arms. I've never heard of that. Send me a link. Does it have an instrumental that I can rip off of YouTube? Is it in my range? Um, in my not my range, my tessitura. Can I take it down an octave and assist down right? So it just depends. Send me a link and I'll check it out. Getting peach flavor. Hey, Andrea, what's your tea? All right. So how many of y'all have watched the documentary, the Pretty Baby documentary? How many of y'all know who Brooke Shields is? So I'm trying to think of my first introduction to Brooke Shields. My first introduction with Brooke Shields was definitely Blue Lagoon. Blue Lagoon felt like I didn't get I wasn't when it came out and I was able to see it and watch it. I wasn't old enough to have the age context. I remember at this time I had uncles who were staying with me and my mom, and they were actually in their teens, like 16, 17. But because I was so much younger than them, I thought that they were adults. I didn't even recognize them as children like I do now. So the concept of age and child was much different now than it was when I actually watched Blue Lagoon. So it didn't have the age context that I had when I was younger. So when I was younger, what it gave me was the Adam and Eve context. Like it reminded me of biblical Adam and Eve because these were young um, boy and girl. They were running around this island naked. They were it just was beautiful. She was beautiful. The boy was beautiful. I remember the it was a tragedy to me. I remember as a kid watching it. It was sad, like watching them fall in love and be tender and um, come of age, and both of them being childlike and exploring sexuality. And then for whatever reason, I can remember the exact plot. They end up having to take these berries that they thought were poison, but I don't think they were poison. But they thought they were poison, and it just was really. I remember it being as a child, it being really sad that they didn't that they had to die together. And I think it was, I think there was a Romeo and Juliet s type of situation that I remember when I got familiar with Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. When I got familiar with that, it read it, when I read Shakespeare and dealt with that in school, I remember it bringing memories of Blue Lagoon back to me. You see what I'm saying? Because I didn't know about Shakespeare at the time that I was watching Blue Lagoon, but once I got introduced to it, I remember it sparked memories of Blue Lagoon. Um, and Brooke Shields was beautiful. Brooke Shields was just amazingly beautiful. Like when I saw her, she just was a beautiful girl, a woman. Because I thought that she was a woman. Um, she just was a beautiful woman. Where I was like, wow. But it wasn't when I was watching them. It was the her and the boy. They were beautiful. His the golden hair, her brown hair, and it just she was beautiful. And so coming into this documentary, I'm coming in with positive vibes of Brooke Shields because I don't have any negative. Brooke Shields is just an entity. Of course, I don't know her personally, but she was an entity that was just a pretty thing. Like, she just was a pretty thing. When I saw her in Blue Lagoon, when I see her in the Calvins, when I see her in um, what else did she? Oh, Suddenly Susan, and her getting to her comedy bag. She just was never a problematic thing. She was just something that existed. A pretty person. Trying to make your own coffee. um, so coming into this, I was like, okay, well now that I'm older, I get to conceptualize her experience so I can understand what went on. Because I'm over the time I've heard tidbits about her being a child star and her mother and her connection with Michael Jackson. Because I remember that was kind of weird to me when I was younger. Um, all these kind of things were just kind of weird to me. And, this gave me more insight on her as a person. So it starts off with the story of her being born and how her mother treated her as a child. Like, her mother thinking that she was just the most beautifulest baby that she had ever saw. And in your mind, it's like, who doesn't think like that about their baby? Somebody might, but might not. But but usually people just really love their babies. But as we all know, there's been tons of jokes said about this online, particularly. Some babies ain't cute. So if you look at babies, there is a range of, you got a regular baby and you got an ugly baby and you got a beautiful baby. And so there's a range of cuteness in babies to me. And so it's very rare, but there are some babies that I'm like, oh my God, you are an exceptionally beautiful baby. I remember this dude in my high school named Jason. He was a senior when I was junior. He had a baby, and the baby probably was like it wasn't walking yet, so it might have been like 7 months. I don't know, but his girlfriend brought their baby to school, and I looked at their baby and I was like, "Oh my God, this is the most beautifulest baby in the world." Like, this baby is Jesus. Like, what kind of baby is this? This looks like a real baby doll. This looks like her eyes, her lashes, her eyes were just like these beautiful round almond eyes. She was like um she was brown, her skin was brown, like like that kind of dark Hawaiian. Like it was like her hair. She looked like if I was to stereotype, she looked like a Hawaiian baby, but she was just a black girl. She was just a black baby, and she looked like a Hawaiian little baby. Like just her hair, her skin was like this really reddish brown color. Um, y'all remember the girl that used to play on the series with LL Cool J? The dark skinned girl, what's her name? Maya Campbell or Mia Campbell? Maya Campbell? I can't remember her name, but her last name is Campbell, I think. I think she's going through some drug addictions nowadays, but when she was in the 90s, she was kind of like a popular brown girl. And this baby looked like a baby version of her, like just a beautiful, just crazy beautiful. Like you need to get this baby in some modeling, some Gerber, some Gerber commercials. And so um, hearing about Brooke's mother and how she thought about her baby, that's what it reminded me of. It was like this is a mother who saw so much beauty in her child and really said, "Oh, I'm about to Drake's baby ain't cute." No. We ain't about to be shady to no kids. so 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 when you think about a mother, and she's and everybody made it seem like her mother was a firebrand. She was like, she was one of them women that were untamable. Yes, the status quo says I get a husband and get married and just be this wife, but she just that's not who she was. That's not who I am. I don't like being a housewife. I don't like being under these dudes' rules. I don't like, she just one of them women that I just don't, this ain't me. This ain't who I am. Those Betty for them white women that just don't feel that, them Betty for dance. Hey Michelle. Um, them Betty for dance. They kind of middle class white women. They got the privilege of finding them a white husband and they're just dissatisfied with their life. Sitting at home, they don't want to be Doris Day or Mrs. Cleaver on on Leave It to Beaver. They don't want to be these 50s, 60s housewives, these typical housewives where all you do is cook. You don't do nothing else, and you just a fucking basically a slave for men and their image. And some women just did not adhere to that. It just wasn't their thing. It's not what they wanted. And so it sounds like Brooke's mother was that. And then Brooke being so beautiful, I think her mother having the time and having the hustle in getting her in all of these commercials as a baby and doing what she needed to do to support her and be her manager and put her in these things. I think Brooke's mother saw her as a way for them to be stable without a man. This documentary is on Hulu. So you have, it's like, oh, we can make a living doing this stuff, using my daughter, and not using in an exploitative way, but I'm going to support my daughter getting to be a star. She likes acting. She's a gorgeous little baby. Let's make this happen. And so instead of me investing my time in this dude and being house at home and da da da, I can invest my time. I can divorce this man, focus on my daughter, and that's literally what she did. And I think a lot of times when we think about, I think because of misogyny, when we think about a mother doing that and how when we think about a mother doing that, it is judged more harshly than when we think about a father doing that. Because think about when we think about Beyonce and Matthew Knowles giving up his multi-figure job with Xerox, when we think about Joe Jackson and him being a disciplinary and and getting them the Jackson Five and building these legends, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, building these legends, they get a certain level of praise. They get a certain level of respect from people. But when we get into moms, there's a certain level of vitriol and negativity that comes when it comes to momagers. When we think about Kris Jenner, when we think about when we go back to the boys, King Richard, when we think about Richard Williams, it's a certain level of praise that we give dads who become these kind of managing leaders of their star children. But moms, we don't give them the same praise. There comes a negative connotation with momagers. Think Kris Jenner. Think when we think about what other moms? This Brooke Shields mom. Any moms? What other moms do y'all think about when y'all think about children stars and their mother? When we think about Jason Weaver, we don't hear about Jason Weaver's except from Jason Weaver. Jason Weaver is the Sonia Norwood, Brandy's mom. Facts. They kind of are. I think Sonia is a little bit different because the father was still there. The father was still there. But the moms don't get as much praise. It's almost like, it's almost like a negative thing to me, especially that Kris Jenner. Because if it wasn't for Chris's brilliance and connections and knowing how to turn this into something, we wouldn't. Not saying that it's a good or bad thing, but for them, it's a great thing. We wouldn't see the Kardashian family to the level that we are seeing her, and it's more than just Sissy Houston. Yeah, Sissy Houston, absolutely. It's more than just a sex tape because a whole bunch of people had sex tapes out. They didn't become global brands like the Kardashians. There is a finesse that you need to have. There is a business savvy that you have to have that I think Kris is the root of it. So Brooke's mom getting her into these commercials and growing her into this little child star. Of course, it was her ticket to security. Her and her daughter, not just her, but her and her daughter. And from what I see in the film, from what they say, it's like, hey, she was on the sets. It wasn't like she just dropped her off and went and da da da. She was on the sets and she was there. Yeah, when it was her downtime, she went and got drunk. But while her daughter was shooting, she was on the set just dealing with the situation. So it sounds like she's just a typical momager. And so what I wanted to ask y'all is, what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about putting your children out there? Because there are a lot of stars that we only have them because their parents put them out there. Beyonce, Whitney, Usher's mom, Usher. There's a lot of people who they are stars because their parents. Tevin Campbell. I just watched Tevin Campbell's Uncensored, and his mom. It's a lot of stars, legends that we only have them because their parents had the guts to say, let me push my child into this. Let me give my child this opportunity. Let me give up my life for my child to have this opportunity. Let's take this risk for this child to grow into something. So, what y'all think about that? So, Brooke, I guess one of the first controversial things that started to happen was that movie Pretty Baby. So she was in a movie that in the movie there is an underage prostitute. And at the time that this movie was created, this is in Europe. And, you know, this is, this is a risque movie. This movie probably wouldn't be able to be made at this time. But at the time that this was being made, it was artful. And she was playing a character. This was based on a true story in New Orleans. And when I watched the scene and I watch it, it was quite in my brain. I have to ask, I understand art. So, like, if you're telling a story, and look, like, say that I was telling a story about doing a film about child sex trafficking, there's gonna be a child being sex trafficked in the film. If I'm gonna be realistic, you know what I'm saying? There's gonna be a child in a role of them being sex trafficked. I may not put them in a scene of them having sex with a client or with one of the predators. I may not do that, but there's going to be a child in that role if I'm doing a film, an authentic film about that. And so there was this critique of the film saying that it shouldn't even be made, like it wouldn't even be made, because Brooke Shields has a conversation with her children later on in the documentary. But from a right now context, but at the time, it was almost like it was art, and it was done. The mom was like, it was done tastefully. We trusted the artistic vision of the director, and in my mind, I, what is the purpose? That was her first kiss with a grown man. She did. And the thing about it, and that's the real life Brooke, but we're talking about just the film. So on a real life level, it's like, ooh, um, um, but on an artistic level, why make this film? And for me, that was the interesting that what is the point of this film? Are you speaking against child prostitution? Because it doesn't feel like that, because you don't have to have them in the closet kissing. You don't have to have her with a grown man kissing in the closet to make that point. So what is the point of artistically, what is the point of showing this grown man kissing on this girl in the closet, falling over the arc of him falling for her in the closet? What purpose does that serve artistically? Art is supposed to be moving us forward. I think there was a scene where she was being carried through and they were bidding on her. That I see the purpose of that. Like, if this video is to if this film is to deter people from this kind of objectification, then yeah, she's being laid out like food on a platter. But it's just certain things, and I'm like, what's the purpose of this in your art form? So that was a big thing during the time that it came out, and parents was like, no, why would you let your daughter do this? And then as she got older, she started to be in more things that were kind of risque, like photo shoots, not films, but like photo shoots that were kind of sexually, that was kind of sexually um adult, her in gowns and fur and tons of makeup, um as a little girl, and it started to be creepy, creepy. Hey Ty. um and when she would go on shows, the parents would read her mama. Like, why would you let your daughter do this? um and part of me was like, the part of me was sympathizing with the mom. Part of me was sympathizing with the mom because the mom was like, I'm there with my child and I trust the artistic vision of who is there. and I'm there. And if my child didn't want to do it, she could tell me because we could do something else. And so, was she a minor when she did the Calvin Klein ads? Yes. Yes, she was. Excuse me. She was a minor when she did the Calvin Klein ads. Um, and that was an interesting thing because the Calvin Klein ads, Brooke was like, when she was doing it, because she's not behind the camera, she's in front of it. So she was like, I don't see what the camera is doing. And they're asking me to do stuff that takes intelligence to do, like how I'm delivering my lines, things I need to know, what I need to talk about in this video. I'm learning things. So it's almost an intellectual level that is not making it sexual to me because I'm a 15-year-old with no sexuality and not thinking about, not with no sexuality, but with not thinking about sex in the way that these adults are thinking about. And that's another thing. Like all these artists, photographers, filmmakers, them using this beautiful little girl or teenage little girl to teenage girl. Why is this a thing? You get what I'm saying? You have to ask yourself, why is this a thing? Natalie Nunn, Reese Witherspoon all ended up on the casting couch underage. Yes. So why are y'all? This is the thing about men. Like y'all are not questioning why this image of this little y'all are infatuated with this image of this little girl. That's it seems like it would in my brain. It would be creepy. And I saw some men like, this looks kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Mostly women, but I saw some men saying, this is kind of weird. And so I want to ask y'all what y'all thought about that. Like, what is y'all thoughts about using children artistically in art? Another and take this out of this context. I remember Amber Valetti. She's a model. If you know anything about fashion, if you memorizes fashion photo shoots like I do, um, Amber Valetti was the first person to wear. She was in the Versace 2000 Versace ads in the green dress that J Lo made famous. That green dress with the plunging neckline. The original model in the ad for that gown before J Lo made it even more popular. That model, she has blonde hair. She was looking sickly. It's just it's from spring 2000 fashion, Versace fashion campaign. But one of her first Vogue covers. Let me cut these lights down because my nose is going to keep itching. Sorry. Oh. Woo. Ooh. Not that much. Okay, cool. So, what was I about to say? Oh, yes. So Amber Valetti, she had a photo shoot of her son on Vogue. She's a model. So when she first had her son, she does a photo shoot on, I don't know if it's American Vogue or British Vogue. I don't know what Vogue it is, but her baby is a big ass baby. But he's only like a couple of months old, but he's big. You feel what I'm saying? And so she was on the cover with him, and there was like a backlash. Now she was just holding her baby like a mom, just holding her baby. And there was a backlash of her having her nude baby on the cover of Vogue. because he was the first baby that was on the cover of Vogue, and so, and I think the third male. And so there was this backlash of her having her new baby. And so and so it always makes me think of like how selective we are when it comes to what is outrageous, because I've seen other pictures that nobody batting an eye about. Um, Pampers commercials, or I don't know, it's just certain things that I'm like, I've seen like new babies, not nude as in like their pee pee out, but even that sometimes. Their private parts out, but even that. Swimming, I've seen um um like baby shampoo commercials, stuff like that, where I'm like, nobody bats an eye at this, but as soon as we see a baby on the Vogue, it's like, what? It just sometimes it's real weird and selective when we get outraged at this kind of youthful stuff. The copper tone sunscreen body was a depiction of a naked baby. Yeah, the little dog was pulling her little panties down, or little bikini bottoms down, and you could see her little butt. I remember that. That was weird. It was always weird to me, but it seemed innocent, but it was always weird. Like I can't really explain it. It's like, what? Wasn't Angela Lima a minor when she started um Victoria's Secret? Weren't they all? I just remember everyone going crazy about her being young and when she was going to lose her virginity. That was creepy. But that's the same thing that happened to Brooke Shields about her virginity when she announced that she actually was still a virgin after all these years of being a sex symbol. That she was still a virgin. It turned her in this documentary. It turned her into like this virginity model. um, I want to talk about her beauty, because while I was watching it, there was moments of them going through her pictures, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like, she was a gorgeous girl. She was just gorgeous. Like, it was like, "Wow, you are beautiful." And certain pictures, I was like, "God." And I always wonder, and she talked about it in that. She talked about some of the pitfalls of that. How does that feel? I remember being on a bus one time, and it was a Greyhound, and we were in Dayton, and I think I was headed back to Indianapolis. I think I was like on the escort. I was on an escort trip home, and I was going back home. And I think I was either coming from Philly or coming from DC, and I was on the Greyhound going from DC to Indianapolis. And I think I was in Dayton, and this girl got on the bus with her two children, and when I looked at her face, I was in awe. Like, she was so perfect. And I looked at her. She had two children, two of her own kids, and she couldn't have been anything more than 23, 22. And I looked at her and I was like, God, like, imagine seeing somebody that just is like exceptionally beautiful. Like, it was one of the moments. And then there's a difference between somebody being beautiful to you, but then them being beautiful to everybody else too. So she got on the bus, and you see people responding to her beauty. Like, you see it. And it's a wide range of things. It's women responding to it, the bus driver responding to it, men on the bus responding to it, and it runs the gamut of Jesus. Like I know me, I was sitting there like, "Oh, God." And I'm not sexually attracted to women. So I'm just looking at it of a sense like, Jesus. How do you live with this? Not how do you live with it, but wow. And I'm seeing other people respond to it. White people. This is a like a black girl. Um, and I'm just seeing people responding. I'm seeing people respond to her. And it is like I'm sometimes I don't understand. Not it's not I don't understand. It's I'm always curious how do people navigate being that level of beautiful. I can only imagine because the way people responded to her. And in my life, I've seen certain people that I'm like, that has to be because people want it, and people want it because it's a double-edged sword. People want it, and I don't think we talk about it enough, but you want it, but it's a double-edged sword because it opens up the door for some negative ass shit. Right. You fantasize about their level of privilege for a moment. Yes. Um, and Cindy Crawford. Yeah, she had a girl next door. It wasn't too exotic, but it wasn't. It just was a classic white beauty, just a classic white woman beauty. Um, yeah, classic American white woman beauty. It didn't give me exotic. It gave me regular, like Cindy Crawford. Um, that yes. Um, because it comes with whatever that beauty, whatever the, because beauty isn't it's real, but it isn't real. Like it's also a social construct, like gender, like race. It's real, but it isn't real. And so that whatever that thing, whatever it is, people respond to it differently. So let's go the easy route. So men respond to beauty if they're heterosexual. Let me say that. Um, well, let's not genderize it. Say any beauty. So a male beauty, whatever kind of beauty. So somebody who has beauty, people want it. They want it for sexual reasons. Like, oh, when I see this level of beauty, I want it sexually. I want to have it. I want to enjoy it. So there's that. Then there's I want to own it. I want it for myself. I don't want it for everybody else. I want it for myself. So there's an ownership that people want to have with it. Um, and that could be romantic ownership, but it also can be, a possessiveness when you do own it, like the mother to the child. This is my daughter. I made this. I my genes created this. So yes, I may not be as beautiful as her, but there's something of me in her. And so when you complimented her, you indirectly are complimenting me. So if I had any kind of self-esteem issues from my past that I hadn't worked through, I can get some of that healed through my child. There's also a, for some people, it immediately opens up jealousy. Immediately. You see a woman. So when I see a beautiful woman, I'm like in awe. Like, wow, you are gorgeous. But that response may not be from somebody else. Somebody else can look at it and be intimidated and be jealous and be scared of it and want to snuff it out. You shouldn't be this pretty. I remember my Aunt Sherry. Usually when I'm saying aunt, it's either like my mom's best friends or because I don't have my mother doesn't have any siblings. She's the only child. So usually when I say aunt, I'm usually talking about either my mother's aunts, my grandmother's aunts, or my mother's best friend, some type of woman figure that's not my actual blood relative aunt, or sometimes they are, but not my direct first aunt. Anyway, this is my aunt Sherry. My aunt Sherry is my mother's best friend growing up from the time she was early, like in her early teens, like 14, 15. And so my aunt Sherry, she was your typical pretty light skinned girl. She had this is the 80s, so I'm using the language that they would use. We don't use this language now because we have evolved, but she had good hair. She was a typical light skinned girl. God, she she had a body, big booty. She was built like Alicia Keys. So thick thighs, big booties, kind of small breasts. But because her breasts are small, it makes her ass and thighs and shit look even bigger. But she just was a typical. She wasn't mixed, but could be. You get what I'm saying? Somebody could definitely, you know, think she was. Um, but out of my mother's clique, she was the one that was the pretty one. She was the pretty one. My mother also pretty, but she just doesn't have what all the things society says that Sherry had that was pretty. Um, so the way my mother talked about her was, yeah, Sherry's the pretty one. Sherry's the all the boys wanted Sherry, but there was a handful of boys that they might have thought Sherry was pretty, but everybody wanting Sherry intimidated them. So they would never try to holler at Sherry or think they had a chance with her. So they'd try to talk to the one who they feel like they got a chance with. That's not Sherry. And she's saying the thing about it, they had a friend named Nita. Nita was the opposite of Sherry. Nita compared, this is the 70s and 80s, so we have evolved, but she didn't have nothing of what Sherry had. Sherry, Anita was darker. Nita was, you know, one of them little girls that got their hair permed too damn much too soon, and so her hair was this long. Um, um, she just didn't have the stuff that Sherry had, so she would be the one that was quote unquote ugly. So, and this is how they would talk. This is how they would talk. But what the situation that they would be in that my mother would describe, my mother would be like, when we would go to the club, yes, everybody is responding to Sherry, but that was positive and negative. So when girls had an attitude with us, they would always try to fight Sherry for no reason. Sherry wouldn't do nothing. We could just come, and because all the boys is giving Sherry attention, because she's the light skinned girl with the good hair, girls. And this. I'm telling y'all this from my mother's telling me this from her perspective, and she was like, people would just try to fight Sherry for no reason, no reason, no reason. So it came that pretty, the way my mother described it, that pretty came with some negative. Did it come with some positive? Absolutely. We know how colorism works. She wouldn't have called it colorism. She didn't know. They didn't talk about it in the context that we talk about now. you know, they would say color struck. Yeah, everybody color struck, but that is something that negative comes with it. And so when Sherry got older, Sherry got caught. These girls tried to jump Sherry in a hallway, in like a stairwell in her apartment complex. They caught her in the hallway. Usually Nita, the one that was quote unquote the ugly one. Usually Nita would be the one there helping her fight. Nita was considered the battle axe, like she was the one that was always fighting. And Cherry would fight too, but because they were best friends, Nita wouldn't let anybody jump on Sherry. So they would always fight together. But they caught Sherry one time in the stairwell by herself, and they cut Sherry's face. So Sherry, she's passed away now, but Sherry had, from the time she was like 20, she had a scar across her face, like scar across her face because they took a razor blade and cut her face. And so, proving the point that, oh, we gonna get you. Yeah, you think you pretty. And it's not that Sherry wasn't humble or Sherry did something, but because we know that this is your power, regardless if you want it or not, we're gonna make you ugly by cutting your face. So they cut my Aunt Sherry's face. So from the time my Aunt Sherry was 20 till she passed away, she had a big ass scar on her face from a razor blade because the girls in her 20 cut her face up. And so, that's one example. And then I have Teresa. Now, Teresa is Todd, do you remember Teresa? I don't know if you remember Teresa. I don't know if you remember. Teresa is brown. She looks like Chili. She looks like Chili from TLC. But also beautiful. Just a beautiful, exceptionally beautiful girl. She just pretty. Everybody thought she was pretty. And so there was two girls in my high school, not my high school, my junior high. Teresa and Tiffany Merriweather. Tiffany Tiffany was a typical light skinned girl to me. Nothing nothing special to me. She was beautiful. She was beautiful. But I, Teresa was sick. I think people respond to your beauty in a way that way. I think so. I think there was a level up to that. Um, to that. I think I was pretty, but I don't think I was to the level that I'm talking about. um, but I do remember people being shady to me just because um of their assumptions about light skinned girls, assumptions about light skinned people. Like I would have to come in, um, like if I just stand there and be quiet. I remember there was times when I would come in the spaces and I'm not doing anything and I'm just there, and people would um people would people would just I it's just, oh, we thought you were stuck up, or we thought you was acting funny, and I wouldn't be doing anything. Well, you know how light skinned girls are, and it would be weird, especially if you're going to a HBCU. Um, that's another element too. So, how do I talk about this? And it's difficult to talk about this because there's a level of, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's hard to talk about it. But for example, let's talk about that. So let's talk about me going to a HBCU. So as a trans woman going to a HBCU, there is some negative shit that comes with being a trans woman. But I'm also a light skinned trans woman. So how does that balance out? So when we're thinking about privileges, um, how, how does it balance out? Like it's like like for example, my transness in my life has gotten me fired from a job and changed the trajectory of my life 3 fucking times because I was fired for being trans. My light skin didn't save me. But when I got into the whole game, there were opportunities of clients that a dark skinned girl may not have because I was light skinned. So here it goes where my transness harmed me multiple times, and then my light skinnedness in certain arenas benefited me in certain times. You know, because clients would call and say little colorist shit. Oh, you're an exotic black girl. And that always means mixed looking. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My little color block jumpsuit is so cute. Yes. I love it. So sometimes, you know, how do you acknowledge the privilege of colorism, the privilege that light skin gives you, but also acknowledge the detriment that transness give you. So if I was a regular light skinned girl going to HBCU, there was some privileges. I remember there's this one girl, I ain't gonna say her name because some people go to my school might be listening. Nah, I know they do. There was a girl in our college that, to me, I don't think she was very pretty, but she was light skinned. And so people act all, you know, amazed by her, but I don't think she was very pretty. But all she was just light skinned, because there's some light skinned girls who are not pretty to me. And so I saw that. I saw the benefits of that at the school, but I don't feel like I was getting certain benefits. But there is a simultaneity. There's a simultaneous thing happening. So yes, my transness is making people act negative to me, but I go to the dean's office after I get in a fight. Okay, this is how this colorism thing happens. I go to the dean's office after I get into a fight, and the lady there, her over it, when we're in the office together, she says, "Oh, um, she says, oh, we not about to get. They not. We. You can't let these niggas. You can't let these niggas get you to fighting. You are a pretty red girl. You cannot be fighting. If you're gonna be a woman, you a pretty red woman. Act like one. This is not a light-skinned woman. This is a dark-skinned woman that is saying this. And because of what she's telling me, she goes to bat for me. Now, I don't know if she would have did this for another girl. And it might be passability or whatever. But because she injected my color in her conversation, I knew that this had something to do with her being passionate about this, has something to do with my color, my prettiness, my passability, all these things. Because if I wasn't these things, she wouldn't be saying what she's saying. Do you see? Does it make sense? Am I tripping? Because why would she inject my color in this conversation? I just got in a fight. They're trying to expel me from school for fighting. And you're saying you can't have these niggas getting you all riled up. You are a pretty red bitch. You're a pretty red woman. Act like one. I'm like, what that got to do with anything? But she said this. And so she fought to keep me in school, and I was able to get out of school. I don't know if she would have did that if I didn't I don't know if she would have did that if I wasn't passable, if I wasn't pretty to her. I don't know. But there's these little moments. I was so close to being an AKA. You know how AKAs get down. The students were rallying to get me to be an AKA. So I got all the way to the president of everybody accepting it except for the president. The president was like, no, at the school was like, no. I don't know what y'all tripping. Y'all got me fucked up. I got so close. But would I have gotten close if I was darker? If I didn't fit the stereotype of AKA, would they have accepted me in the same exact way? I was the stereotype. So how did and my acceptance at the school, at the same time I was getting these negative things happening to me, but the people that started to accept me were because of these things, was because of my beauty, because of things that was being said. The thing that was being said all the time was, y'all talking shit about this person, but that motherfucker looked good. He looked better than half the females on this campus. Oh, well, he doing it right. They may be misgendering me, but they would say something along the nature of, he pretty though. He doing it right. And I don't know how that works out, but because I fit a certain standard of beauty, especially when I was younger, there was certain benefits that came with fitting that standard of beauty. And any person that says it isn't, they're lying. They are lying. Any person that says it isn't, they're lying. Because it's these subtle things. And so I say all of that to say, sometimes I can't really tell, because I have these other identities that are so oppressive. They don't always feel like, other things don't always feel like privileges, because I have these other intersections that are like so harsh. Does that make sense? So it just doesn't always feel like a privilege. It doesn't always feel like it's like, oh my God, I'm getting ahead because of this. Because the other thing about me will say, boom. Yeah, you got a little head, you got a little heads up here, but then the transness will say, boom. The blackness will say, boom. It'll be some things. It won't be as beneficial as people be acting like. So back to Brooke Shields. So when we get throughout the documentary, we see these things happening to her. We see her being objectified, especially as she get older. When she starts to be a woman and she's starting to have some of the plus and minuses are evening each other out. Yes. So when she starts to be a woman and she doesn't have the protection of her mother, and then she got to go into these adult relationships where now whatever they got going on, she's going to be exposed to. When she's younger, she got her mama protecting her and da 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 da. But when she gets older, then you don't have that kind of protection. And that's why, she had got sexually assaulted, because there comes the negative of that. I tell dudes all this all the time. They will slide in your DMs and they will say, excuse me. They slide in your DMs and they will say, I bet you got your whole inbox is full of people. Okay, sure, yes. My inbox is full of people because I'm an attractive woman. But you know who it attracts? It attracts good men and it attracts the bad ones. So while this ugly girl may not be getting all the hits, maybe in quantity, it's harder for me to find quality because I got to shift through all the bad apples to find one that's good to eat. Because I got the ugly ones trying to holler at me. That's not good people. The handsome ones trying to holler at me, they're not good people. I got the ugly ones that are good people, that's trying to holler at me, and I got the cute ones that are good people that are trying to holler at me, and everything in between. And I gotta sift through that. And then we take that. Okay. All right. So that's on the level of regular cis woman, pretty woman. Okay. And then, but then you take the transness. That's gonna make that's gonna make your options smaller because you're trans. Yeah, you're a pretty woman, but you're a trans woman, and everybody ain't into that. And so what you get now is the pool of tranny chasing men. All of them, the good ones and the bad ones. So they all gonna slide in your inbox. They all gonna hit you up. What's up? Oh, hey, how you doing? I'm into that. So you gotta sift through all of them. And then whatever, if it's a predator, them. So Brooke Shields is this beautiful thing. This beautiful thing, because we can't say she's a thing to some people. She's not real. She's even though she is, she's not real. She's this entity that has always been beautiful. And here we go, this man who is in power, who has, who's making films and da 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 da. Da. She's finally a woman, and I get the chance to be in a hotel room with her. And if I'm a predator, now she's at risk of me because she is who she is, because she is beautiful as she is. If I am a predator, this is what I want. When we think about Bill Cosby going after Beverly Johnson, when we think about, these models being in these positions where if I'm a predator, you are going to be the ones that are the prize for me to overpower. And this is, and by no means saying that somebody who's not attractive doesn't get raped. No, absolutely not. They definitely do. But just from the perspective of a beautiful person, they are going to attract the gambit of gamut of all types of motherfuckers, just because you fit this standard of beauty, just because you fit whatever the standard is. And so of course Brooke Shields got raped, of course. Now your family is not here to protect you. All I got to do is get you by yourself. Of course she did. We've been lusting after you since da 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 da, the predators. We've been lusting after you since them Calvin Klein's jeans. And if I'm a predator in a time where predatory behavior is running rampant, because men are going to men whenever they can, absolutely. Running rampant, of course, Brooke Shields got a rape story. Of course. I'm surprised it didn't happen before. But it didn't happen before because her mother didn't leave her. You can't tell me that Brooke wouldn't have gotten molested or touched if her mother wasn't the type of mother to stay there and be on set with her. You can't tell me that. You can't get me to believe that she wouldn't have got touched if her mother early on, if her mother hadn't been there taking care of her. Because they were doing it to the rest of them. And so then you get the marriages. You get the what's the tennis player name? Andre Lagasse. I don't know. I'm saying it wrong, but what's his name? What's the male tennis player that she married? And then we get into the trophy things, like having you as a trophy. I remember. I don't know if y'all watch Greenleaf. I do not watch Greenleaf, but sometimes I run across powerful episodes or powerful scenes from it. And in Greenleaf, there is Oprah and Lynn Whitfield are playing sisters. I think they're playing sisters, And one of the things that I watched, anybody watch Greenleaf? Andrew Agassi, yes. Anybody watch Greenleaf? Um, are they sisters? Is Oprah and Lynn sisters? If y'all watch it, I think they're sisters because I don't watch it, so I'm not for sure. But anyway, I think they're sisters, and Lynn Whitfield is the light skinned, pretty first lady. Thank you. Yeah, they're sisters. So Lynn Whitfield um is Oprah's sister, and she's the first lady of the church. And apparently, Oprah been fucking her husband for a quite long time, and she and Lynn knew about it, thinking that it happened once in the past. But Oprah was telling her, "Girl, you think it was only once?" No, that's what he told you. And so it was this beautiful. I don't know about beautiful, but acting wise, both of them did a really really good job in the acting part. Um, and so Lynn says Oprah was like, you know, yeah, he picked you because you was a pretty light skinned girl, and it was good for business. When Oprah said one time, I started chuckling. I cackled too. It was funny. And she was like, "Oh, you the pretty little he picked you because you're the pretty little light skinned girl. You was good for business. You was good to be on his arm." And Lynn said at the end, he picked a wife. So what does that make you? You the whore. At least I get to be the wife on his arm and respected by everybody while you in secret. So it's that kind of stuff. It's that kind of you become this trophy. You don't know if you are an object of their affection, you are an object or you are a human to them. Some of them, especially when we get into these rich men's minds, when we think about people who date like a Amber Rose, people who date like a China, these women become like Ferraris. They're not real human beings to these people. They are accessories. If I have a nice Lambo, a G Wagon, I got these amazing cars that shows my status, my home, my car. My wife shows my status too. So I'm gonna do uh what's that girl name on Basketball Wives? Evelyn. I'm gonna do a Evelyn. I'm gonna do a Amber Rose. I'm gonna do these women who are exotic and who look like they're high status women. And being a hoe don't make you not high status. Y'all know that, right? There's too many women that done came out of the strip club and done been famous. When we think about Amber Rose, Black China, these are high level women when it comes to being that trophy. That's why they were able to get to the level that they are now and be rich off of what they had. This is the thing that thank you, Brandon. Um, so, but they're not respected as human beings. They're trophies. They are an object. You make me look like I have money. Nobody can get you that don't have money. You not fucking with no broke dude. You only fuck with ballers. So having me being able to snag you and have you establishes me as a baller. Just like a bitch getting a Birkin. You are a Birkin. You are the Birkin of bitches. And snagging you is a thing. It does something to my status. Black China is delivered and saved. She is. That's another funny thing. Whether Black China is really delivered and saved or scamming delivered and saved, I want her to win. Either way, because whoever she is scamming is not me. It is whoever she is trying to get into the door with this new image. And I hope she gets in that door. whatever she is whatever she is scamming to do, I want her to do it. I want her to be successful. From hole to pulpit. Right. Where the money reside, where the blessings reside. Where the blessings reside, where the blessings reside. Hey. Yeah. So I want her to win either way. Black China is one of them women in the culture. I don't know them personally, but I stand for them. It's something about them that there's a couple of women that are problematic, that are my problematic faves. Kim Kardashian is actually one, actually, if y'all didn't know that. Um, I really enjoy Kim. What Kim represents, the whole putting her whole family on, having a sex tape, putting her whole family on, and it snowballing into this. Her mama saying, "Oh, well, let's make this happen," and snowballing into what it is now. Her being the stylist of these celebrities and the sidekick of Paris Hilton, and now she's that bitch. I live. Having them all the black boys. She's trying to get back in the good graces of the courts and public opinion to try to take them folks back to court. You got to respect that gangster. Yeah, I want them to win. I like it. Um, so so then we get Brooke Shields going to college, and I thought that that was interesting. Be, how you can't live down your beauty. How um how people were like she couldn't get into Princeton, she wouldn't graduate from Princeton, and why are you going to Princeton? Like, and people weren't taking her seriously. So you on this level of beauty that you can't be smart and beautiful. And I think one of the commenters, one of her friends, were commenting, and she said that like you can't be this drop dead gorgeous and be a smart bitch. What? Get up off our necks. You can't be both of them things, bitch. What's going on? But she was smart. She was just a beauty that just so happens, and there are tons of smart, beautiful women. So I wanted to how there is a negative connotation of using when we think about Black China, when we think about Amber Rose, when we think about these beauties, and there is an exploitation of that beauty. I'm using this social capital that comes from being beautiful to get ahead. Okay. Even in Brooke Shields, I'm this beauty. While I'm complaining about it, I would not be here talking to you on this document on this documentary. I mean, if I wasn't beautiful, we wouldn't be talking about no damn Brooke Shields. You're here because of your beauty. We wouldn't be talking about you. So you got your money, you got your security because of your beauty. Even Black China, you saved now, but your ass got saved after you got them OnlyFans millions. After you got the house and the security and the businesses and everything done, yeah, it's easy to say, "Oh, I'm gonna let all of that go." I'm gonna let all of that go and be saved, and and I can look back and say, "Oh my God, I was objectified because of my beauty, and nobody respected me because of my beauty." Excuse me. Yeah, Maryland perpetuated the stereotype of dumb, beautiful blonde, although she was very smart. Woo. Absolutely, just like Paris Hilton. That wasn't Paris Hilton's real personality. That was a character. I'm going to talk about that, Shonette, because this is a. Let's talk about it. Okay. So there was a moment when she was becoming adult and she was having fun, and she talked about, and first of all, bitch, the pretty privilege that come with you losing your virginity to Dean Cain, that was a pretty privilege down. Because Dean Cain was fine. Woo! You lost your virginity to Dean Cain, Superman. Oh, I lived. so, so she was dating Dean Cain, and then she went through this process where she wasn't dating, and then she started hanging out with Michael Jackson. And it's this little shit why I believe Michael was a predator. Because there's always these little things that let you peek into a person's conniving behavior. And what Mike put out there is not who he was. Like, no, when you talk to people who are in his inner cycle, it was negative shit that don't associate with his good image. Let me give you this is a perfect example. Brooke hanging out with him, and she's saying, "Hey, we just was similar in the things that we were both childlike. We were both child stars. We were both this kind of thing." But Michael started telling people that we were dating, and that's what we was doing. I was dating somebody else. Why is Michael telling people that we are dating? And she said she called him and asked him, like, why are you telling people that we are dating? That's problematic because I'm dating somebody. Why are you saying this? And then he was saying it to Oprah on the show. And why are you saying this? Because Michael come from old school machine of Motown, and they used to create narratives. They were very conscious about their image and how to change and how to keep their image pristine. Very conscious. Very, very conscious. Remember when Patti LaBelle said that Diana went and bought the same dresses that they had and went out on stage before they went out on stage? These games, Mike is used to playing these kind of image games. So there's that. Janet documentary. Janet says when Mike brought her on to write and help do Scream, there was some weird shit that he was even doing to her about not letting her see his dance moves or not letting her be involved with certain when he was recording, because there was a competition there between the two of them. And he needed her for his image to be cleaned up, but he didn't want her to surpass him. Y'all remember that from the Janet documentary? That is not a child. That is, people act like, oh, he was just so childlike, and no, these are manipulation tactics. And then Quincy Jones multiple times. And that seemed like it hurt Janet. Yes. So these type of things don't come from a nigga that has morals. And so you add Quincy Jones shit, Janet Jackson stuff, this Brooke Shields stuff. These, to me, as a person who reads people, these little, I think, well, these little things give you a glimpse of who they are. And I just feel it just in my spirit. I feel like Mike was doing some shit that he wasn't supposed to be doing with them kids. That's just what I believe. Maybe not every single one, but a few of them. I don't care what nobody say. Is and that's what I thought about in that, because I've seen these little things that it made me feel like, oh, Mike has a. And then when anytime Mike is on, I would believe that if it wasn't his sister who has seen him grow up performing. Second day, I could run with that narrative if it wasn't his sister. His sister done seen. That's his sister. Yeah, if it wasn't his sister, like if he brought some random Beyonce or something, I get it. But that's Janet. That's a whole different person. Janet done seen him in his works. So he didn't need to have that kind of embarrassment, or he wouldn't have. That's his little sister. He wouldn't even have that with her. He wouldn't even have it with her. That's his little sister. He raised her. Not raised her, but you know what I'm saying? Like in this entertainment business, that's his. He done brought her up. She's her inspiration. He's her inspiration. So there's no reason for him to be embarrassed or, nah, I can't run with that with Janet. Somebody else, yes, I could. Totally agree on that. So that little moment of Michael being weird like that about lying about dating Brooke was weird. Um, yeah, and Mike comes from that generation, that generation where people where the black the black man was like, Eartha Kitt told us the black man was like, white can't no black woman do nothing for me. I need the image of a white woman, because remember, white women sell an idea of a certain status that black women did not, especially at a certain time in our lives. There was a certain time, a period of time that you didn't even that black women didn't even have the access to that level of femininity to be a status symbol. We didn't get those until we had a Diane Carroll. You know what I'm saying? She was one of the first earlier ones. Dorothy Dandridge. But even the time of Dorothy Dandridge, it wasn't seen. Otto Preminger wasn't. They were messing around, but they weren't public about their messing around. She didn't. She doesn't. You don't get to that level of status to in these 90s, 2000s, 80s. He was actually dating Stephanie Mills at the time. No, he was dating Stephanie Mills. It was before. He was when he was a young. When he got with Brooke Shields, it was a little bit later. It was during after he had got burned with the Pepsi situation. He was dating Stephanie like around the Wiz time. He was dating Stephanie around the Wiz time. It was a little bit before before Brooke. It was a little bit later that he was dating Brooke. Was he ever linked to black women? That's what we were talking about. He was linked to Stephanie in his early life. Stephanie Mills. So, so let's talk about Brooke's mother and how she started to shift because of alcoholism and how Brooke got out of her life, like using what did you call it? What did you say? Something the Gossip. Is that what you called it? What you say his name was? Andre Agassi. Yes. Um Andre Agassi getting using her marriage to him to get out of the relationship with her mom. What did y'all feel about that? Do you think that's always necessary? You know, when we think about Beyonce leaving, Matthew Knowles, when we think about Michael Jackson leaving, Barry Gordy and leaving, even leaving the artistic um, comfort of Quincy Jones and Joe Jackson, going from Joe to Barry. When we think about child stars, is that just inevitable? Like it's gonna be some point that you're gonna have to get off and under your parents. Is that inevitable? Is there a way for that? Have y'all seen it work? I'm thinking about Chris Jenner. I think why the Chris Jenner situation works for them is because they are. It almost feels like Chris put you on, and then she says, "Okay, there you go." She went from one controlling situation to the next, definitely. Which is usually like they talked about it, which is usually the case. You usually go from one controlling situation to the next because that's what you're used to. This one just saved you from this one. Look at Chloe. Hmm. Explain that a little bit. What explain Chloe? There might be something that I don't know. Because from what I'm to understand about the Haley and Chloe girls, they're still their mother is still their manager. From what I'm to understand, Chloe is just going solo because this is the perfect time because Haley is doing the Disney thing over this year. Is did they? I don't remember their mama not being their manager no more. Oh, I don't think Beyonce is controlled by Jay. Oh no, I definitely don't think that. She doesn't talk to her parents. Oh, I didn't. I never heard that before. They wasn't they just on Tina's show with her parents. I didn't know she didn't talk to her parents no more. What happened with her parents? Why they don't talk? I don't follow Chloe. That's kind of out of my age range. They were YouTubers, so I know a little bit about them, but I don't know the details. So I don't know. Whitney, Macaulay Culkin, Drew Barrymore, the list goes on. Yeah, they have to get off and under their parents because they need a certain level of freedom, and it's just inevitable. It's inevitable. You're gonna hurt them, and because it has like this money thing to it, it almost feels sometimes they get real ugly about it. You know, because it's this money, the money of the whole situation is like makes it even worse because you're my cash cow. Chloe unfortunately flopping now. Yeah, I didn't know she wasn't talking to her parents though. I never knew it was why is she not talking to them? Like did something happen with what's the I never knew that. I thought she was just interview with her mom. Not just now, but like at least a year ago. Wasn't she Wasn't she? Didn't Tina Knowles Lawson? Didn't she have a little show on Facebook? And the mama and the Bailey sisters was kind of talking and about her managing them. Could have swore I could have swore I know I did, but I don't know if what you're talking about happened after that. They didn't seem like they had any kind of beef going on. Maybe Journey Smollett. Is Brandy and Ray J still managed by Sonya? Are they still managed by them? Really? I have. This is brand new to me. I gotta look into that. I never heard of that on that. I didn't. I never heard of that. The Ray J is still managed by Sonya. Okay, yeah, so they still cool. So you said, baby, I'm good over here. My kids live. So I thought it was a. Uh, I thought her getting rid of her mom the way she did was really harsh, but it wasn't no other way around it. Her mom was overbearing and doing too fucking much, getting drunk, not trying to not be drunk, just doing too much. Her mom was doing too much, and so she had to kind of force her hand to get up out of here. And it broke her little heart, but you weren't trying to do what you need to do. So, girl, go on. Stop being tired. Um, I was kind of annoyed by her not naming names when it comes to her rape. I'm at this point. At this point, post Me Too, I don't know. Part of me is like, name names. We are past the hiding and protecting these predators. Name names. Because if you're not naming names, then you have to know that they out here still predating people. They're still out here raping people. Why are you not naming names? It's not why. It just annoys me that you're not. I get it, but it annoys me that you're not. Especially this is somebody who you know is a filmmaker and in the business. Maybe the person is no longer alive. Even more reason to name names. Yeah, I get some reasonings. I just don't like it. It just annoys me. It annoys me. Yeah, I want you to call them out. Name names. I'm just at that point. Yeah, I just want you to name names. I want you to, yeah, I don't know. I just want names. I don't want oh, I'm not going to say the name because I'll just tell you what happened. Girl, for what? We know what happens. Okay, girl. We know what happens. We've been knowing it happens. Let's get these, if they still alive, let's get them. Let's call them out. So at least, just like you went to that hotel and didn't know this nigga was like that, the next girl at least will have an idea. Oh, I remember Brooke said that this happened to her. At least I know if I'm going in here, this is a possibility and I can be prepared to have my mace ready. This might be a legit meeting, or it might be he trying to get me. You know what I'm saying? Shirley Ralph killed me, not saying the name, and put out all those who could it be, only said who it wasn't. Also, like, tell the truth. But also, she didn't want to get sued either. But my thing is, you said it happened in front of everybody. So then you got witnesses to say it happened. But she said that he kissed her in front of everybody. So that, I mean, you got witnesses. Let them sue you, child. If you had witnesses, if everybody was around, it happened, motherfucker. I was telling you it happened. It did. They don't want to come up missing. Child, you a politician's wife. Shirley Ralph is a politician's wife. You got all the protection that you need. Everyone started naming Judge Joe Brown, and that's what it should have been. Because baby, he gives you very weirdo, rapey, hotepy clown. But yes, I loved her conversations with her daughters. I love that conversation that her daughters were having, and how she was talking about her work and seeing her work. Um, I totally understood the girl saying, "I don't want to see Pretty Baby." I don't understand. It is your mom, so maybe not. I get it, but I don't think Blue Lagoon was beautiful. It's one of my favorite classic movies. I love, excuse me, Blue Lagoon. I really loved it. It was beautiful to me. I love Blue Lagoon. So I would want to see that, but maybe not if it was my mom. But yeah, I think that I think that conversation with her daughters was so beautiful, and then her really getting um her really getting into, another genre, getting into a genre of, Broadway, and kind of being able to be an actress, a comedic actress, and really, doing something different and having fun with her career now, instead of just being pigeonholed into as a beautiful person. Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, it was weird how men were trying to get her news when she was 10-year-old release. Probably the same men trying to protect children from drag queens today. Um, um, I also think those cases really pointed out how disgusting our system can be, our system of justice and our legal system, how disgusting it can be. Not that I didn't know it, but it's like that. Like, yeah, that just was disgusting. Like, I don't know why she lost that case, but I know why, because technically she signed over her rights to the pictures because her mother let her take these pictures. And so, You get what I'm saying? It is what it is. But and then you have a market. That's what's also wild about these situations is that yeah, everybody can be like, "Oh, I can't believe this. This is disgusting," and da 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 da. But it's a market. There are freaks out here looking for those little pictures and will pay top dollar for them. And so you're asking the wrong questions. You're trying to blame the mother when the question is why are these men perpetuating this market? Why are these men providing something for this market? Why are they doing that? Why does the market exist? Why are they feeding it? I'm surprised they won the case. I was surprised too. But then when we seen what happened with Pamela Anderson and her husband's um Pamela Anderson and her husband's videotape. Remember they was releasing the tapes, their tape, their sex tape, and they had to give up the case. Hmm. I don't even like that they displayed censored image in the documentary. The picture should be destroyed. Hmm. I don't know. I didn't really think about it. But overall, it was a good documentary, and I appreciated. It really got me thinking about beauty. It really got me thinking about beauty. It got me thinking about. There was this episode recently that I watched. Let me see if I can find it in my history because I just watched it. Um, um, oh, this right here.
Removal?
Mm-mm. So this right here. Let's see if I can find it. I have a book called. It's somewhere around here. I thought I had it close by, but I guess not. So there is, y'all know the Wicked. Look at that. That video is about this woman with POS. So she grows a beard. She's a cis woman, but she grows a beard, and she has her sister. Her sister is in there, and there's this book by Gregory McGuire called "Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister," and it's this kind of creative play on Cinderella. This is the same guy who wrote Wicked, the play Wicked that tells the story of the Wicked Witch of the West, her backstory, um, which is really good. He just takes our classic fairy tales and um, create them in, you know, more adult themes, not adult themes like porn, but just really go in depth in them with deeper meanings and things. But it's a book called The Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister. And and really it was about average beauty. Like being average. It was about it, it just was a critique of beauty, about Cinderella's beauty, about the ugly stepsister, about and it's just a really, really good book about that. Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister. Yes. And so that video reminded me of that because if you go to that video, she has a sister who has none of the issues she's had. She doesn't have POS. She doesn't have the same body type. She doesn't have the same look. She doesn't have anything that she that she has. So she's battling. So she's getting married and going through trying to get this laser hair removal from her face, and it reminded me of that book. And that book was so in depth about beauty, and I think it's one of my favorite books that explore beauty from a fictional lens and has you critiquing it on a deeper level. But it's fun because it's like it's in the context of Cinderella, but you're seeing it from the stepsisters' point of view. But it's really, really good. So if y'all are um look at y'all later. Y'all into reading. They thought they were gonna make it a movie. Okay, here we go. I could understand why these celebrities who are child stars don't let their children participate in the industry because they know firsthand what could happen. Yeah. But also, you can't protect your child from every little thing. Even if you are the best parent and you trying your best, you can't protect your child from every little thing. Because there are gonna be some times when your child I recently watched the Tevin Campbell Uncensored, and Tevin was saying I was in a situation where I was doing fucked up shit because I was a child star. I was had access to money. I had access to everything. So I was drinking when I was 13, like drinking like an alcoholic when I was 13, doing crazy ass stuff when I would go out of town and just doing irresponsible stuff when I didn't have um they are making a Wicked, a live action movie. I think Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are starring in it. Interesting. Interesting. That sounds dope. I hope that's true. Is it? Do you got any links to that? Um. Yes. Yes. I lost my train of thought. Child star participate in the industry. Yeah. No. 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 Tevin Campbell. So yeah, they're just sometimes your kids is gonna be exploring and put themselves at risk because they um yeah any gay stuff in the Campbell doc. No, no, he didn't say anything about his sexuality. I think Tevin is one of the people that feels like he doesn't need to talk about it. It is what it is. I think I heard him say something like, come on now, like it is what it is, why do I need to talk about it? Y'all know what's up. um Kevin be out at the gay club. Kevin be out at the gay club. He can. So it's not a secret like that. So I think he'd be like, why do I need to talk about this? Um yes, I just feel yeah, some things you can't control your kids. And this is coming from somebody who was raised by a protective mother. Um yeah, I was raised by a protective mother, and there are just moments where my mother wasn't there. And my mother isn't a robot. You know, your mother isn't perfect. Your father isn't perfect. So there's going to be some times when they're going through their own stress and not thinking about what's going on in their child's life when they're at school or and then most of my experiences that people would deem inappropriate were with peers. It wasn't with adults. And a lot of times adults, the protective people in your life are thinking to protect you from adults. And so you're not, and then when it's your peers, your parents ain't ever gonna be like, oh, we can't have you with no friends. You're gonna have friends. Um, and then you can't be like, oh, you can't go to nobody's house. They can come over here because me and my friends were humping in the closet at my house. So kids is gonna be kids, and sometimes you can't protect them. Look at Orlando Brown, and also celebrity people are not perfect. Some of them have mental health issues. So add on top of whatever comes with celebrity life and add a mental health issue to that, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel that you can stop everything. I feel like what you should do, you should be protective as you can, but always keep you need to make what you really need to focus on is making sure your children trust you and are comfortable enough with you to be able to come to you no matter what the situation is and talk to you about without you shaming them, without you judging them, without feeling like you're going to do too much. That whatever you need to do to make a relationship with your child that they can come to you about anything, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to focus on. Because if something happens that you weren't there to protect them from, they can say, hey, mom, hey, dad, this is what happened to me. This is a situation I'm in with peers or with somebody else or an adult or whatever. If something happens, you want them to be open enough to say, hey, this is what happened to me. You don't want them to be scared of you either not believing them or gonna shame them or ask them. I don't know. It needs to be what I see the problem with protective parents is yeah, you protective, but you overbearing. And so they don't want to come to you because you do too much. Or or they hear you. This is another element too. They hear you talk about shit to other people. Oh, my kids would never do that because they know I'm crazy. That's not the kind of children I raise. So if they fall short of whatever perfection you trying to sell the motherfuckers, they're not gonna come to you. They not gonna come to you and say, "Oh yeah, I actually was doing some post shit. I was busting it open." They not gonna come to you about that because now you done said this. You done put up this image. My mom still don't want me swearing around her. That is the blessing. That is the blessing I do feel of my mom. I didn't feel like I couldn't tell her anything. In my younger years, queerness was kind of, I couldn't tell you about queer shit. But once I got older, I could tell my mama anything. Man, shit, she could tell me anything too. She used to, I'd be like, this is TMI, mother. Be like, I kind of don't want to hear this. Gross. Hey, so yes. The documentary Pretty Baby, Brooke Shields, was really, really good. I liked it. I thought I enjoyed the 80s, 70s nostalgia. Take away the creepness of the child pornography or soft porn shit, and just the beauty of some of the beautiful shots, like the fashion shots and the just the pretty shots. Um, she just was gorgeous to me. I love the Calvin Klein ads. They were sickening. She was sickening to me. She was beat. I love the Calvin Klein ads. I didn't think of them as sexual. I thought of them as just, I just thought she was gorgeous. She just was selling the jeans and she just was, she was gorgeous. I love them. I love them. I couldn't tell my parents shit. They say they don't want to know. Yeah, and I think that kind of attitude puts you, it puts you out here alone when your parents are supposed to be the people that kind of guide you. And so if a motherfucker um is saying they are, you can't even talk to them about stuff they don't want to know, and girl, you out here raw dogging these streets. And so you can't even come, I can't even come and talk to you about stuff, and that's why people be out here lost, lost. Make sure y'all thumbs up. Only 19 people, only left. I love Brooke. She's being um her being a 6 foot tall woman was always been inspirational to me. Being a 6 foot tall trans woman. I still side out her mom and her dad too. Some of the stuff was unnecessary and irresponsible. Give me an example. I love that they showed her sisters. I don't remember having anything of Brooke. I remember having Christy Turlington and Linda. Linda was my favorite model. I love Linda Evangelista. I like Linda Evangelista more than I like Naomi, even though I like Naomi. But I love Linda. My favorite model girls were Linda, Christy, um, basically all the bitches in Freedom. What's the song? The George Michael song. Um, y'all know what I'm talking about. When he was burning the jacket, when he wasn't in the video, it was nothing but models. Oh, Shalom Harlow is my love. Stella Tennant, rest in peace. She killed herself a couple of years ago. When she turned 50, she killed herself. Um, um, Stella, who was it? Stella. I'm talking about in that era. Yeah, it was Linda and Christy and Naomi for me. Linda, Christy, Naomi, Carolyn Murphy. I love Carolyn Murphy. Claudia wasn't. Claudia was Christy Brinkley. Claudia. They were regular white girls to me. they don't really. They didn't really do it for me. The white girls I like. I don't know. They looked unique to me, and I thought that Christy Turlington looked unique, and I thought that Linda looked unique. Linda definitely don't look the same. No, she got disfigured by school sculptor. There is a risk. It's very few people happen. It happens to very few people, but it does happen, and it's usually common in men. Um, yeah, Heidi Klum too. She was just regular. Um, it's so school sculpture kind of uses a wave I can't remember how to explain what it does, but basically there's a condition that it can trigger. Instead of your fat cells going down, it makes them go bigger. Uh, so, and it usually happens in men. It rarely happens in women. But Chrissy Turlington, it can happen in women, but not Chrissy Turlington, Linda Evangelista, it happened in her. And so it made her body deform and made her fat cells get bigger instead of getting smaller. Oh, and so horrible outcome, humbling outcome. Linda just had I like Linda because she was a chameleon. She would have red hair, blonde hair, dark hair, short hair, long hair. She could really just be a chameleon. Nikki Taylor, weren't they a little bit older than them? Or they were the same time? Is that the same time? Maybe. But yeah. Um, yeah, I just love them. I liked Kimura. Kimura was a Chanel muse for a long time. Um, of course, I love Tyra, but I like Tyra. Once I saw when Tyra moved to Victoria's Secret is when I fell in love with Tyra. Mhm. Doo, 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 doo. Everyone used to say you look like Kimura. I think used to pump through tall, Asian looking, dark hair. Oh, slim. I used to try to give Kimura. She was sickening. That's what they used to say when I used to go to Mecca. When I would tip through Mecca or Trimmers. You remember Trimmers used to be popping? I tip through Trimmers. Damn, Kamora Lee. Damn, Kamora Lee. Trey will give you a name, baby. Mm. Now I get Lizzo, which is still sickening, but they will give you Lizzo for a quick second. Mm. But all right, make sure y'all check it out. Make sure y'all check out the documentary if you haven't watched it, and come back here and tell me what you think. It is called Pretty Baby by Brooke Shields. Um, I think men also hit the wall if you look at young Billy Crystal compared to now. Yeah, people age. That's another element I kind of thought about before I go. Aging, like, some people just age gracefully. I think some people do not, and I think it's more pressure for women to stay youthful looking than it is for men, because when men get older, there is a market for that kind of sexy Burt Reynolds, Silver Daddy, George Clooney kind of older man vibe. I think that there is a market, but when women get older, it get kind of weird. It gets kind of there's like a middle ground. You can be old and working like like a Meryl Streep, but when you're in that kind of 40, 50 range, if you don't look young, your career slows down and then it goes back up when you get old looking. They're going up for Pedro Pascal now. Yeah, it's something about aging. There's a time as you get older that you have to grasp getting older and how are you going to deal with it. And for me, it was men's response to me. I hate that um Shamar Moore and Tyson Beckford are male beauties that haven't faded. Yeah, they both still fine. Yeah, they both still fine. um I remember I just remember shit started to change once I got older, especially once I gained weight. How people responded to me. I it turned into um non it turned into auntie vibes. Instead of you walk past me and my homegirls was talking about this when we were in Mexico a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about aging because we all are over 30, and one of us is 50, I'm 42, and the other one is like 33. So we got a 50-year-old, a 40 something, and a 30 something. And we were talking about, just aging. And I was saying, I would back in the day when I would walk past a group of dudes, it would be, damn, baby girl, da 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 da. Now it's more, damn, bro, get out of the way. You see this lady coming through? Sorry, ma'am. Like it's a whole chivalrous auntie situation. Yes, ma'am. it ain't it ain't damn baby girl. It's, oh, sorry, ma'am. Get out this lady way. Still fish though. So long as that's what I was telling my homegirls. I said, long as it's fish. Oh, I'm trying to stop saying fish. Long as you getting, I'm a woman. Long as it's that, cool. Cause it could be, bruh, get out of his way. Bruh, get out of his way. Could be that. So I much rather be auntie than uncle. So um I don't think of it as negative. They're not being negative. They're treating me like an older woman, which is okay. I'm a 40-year-old woman, 40 plus, 42. Yeah, they're just being respectful and I get it. And so yeah, it started to shift. Once I hit, once I hit like 30, whenever I gained weight, so like 37, Once I hit like 36, 37, and I start being plus size fish over size 16, it turned into Aunt Jemima. I think because young dudes want to be respectful of you if they auntie, you have to flirt with them to let them know they got a chance because they think that because you auntie that you know what I'm saying, you're gonna be too young for them. And I'm not talking about teenagers or early 20s. I don't like that. That's like, but a late 20, a 29, anybody over 25 can get it. Um, you really got to flirt with them and let them know it's a possibility. You got to flirt. You got to turn on your Sandra Clark. How you be hitting on the young trade? Oh, I don't. But you have to if you want to pull somebody in. I like to be chased, so I haven't got in the process of um going after young boys. Plus, I like money, so I usually go after older men. I like men who are in, that 50 to 60 age bracket. I don't really. Young boys are fun, just for fun, but I like niggas with money. I like to do stuff, and so I like men. I like men between 50 and 60. That's the niggas I like. I deal with a 40 something, of course. Um, but usually them 20 somethings and 30 something, they be broke, child. I don't want them. I usually date my age or older because they can do the stuff that I like. I like to go on dates. I like to go get crab legs. I like to I like to shop. I like to travel. I like to do some things that cost a little coin. And I'm also somebody that expects a man to pay. And so, and I never have an issue with getting a man to pay. I've never, ever, 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 ever had a man ask me to pay for a half on a date or to pay for a date or anything like that. I know the internet says they be doing that, but me, I've never experienced that. I've never experienced a man saying, "Do you want to go half on a date?" Never, never, never. So, yeah, because I like to do stuff, travel, and eat in nice restaurants, and I have to pick a certain caliber of man, and so that caliber is usually not a young man. And then the men that are younger than me that I deal with, I've been dealing with them for years. So the youngest dude that I deal with now is like 35. But we've been dealing with each other since he was like in his late 20s. So he was like 25. And I was 32. It's an affront to the delicacy of my womanly nature. Right. I am a woman. I'm a I am a non-traditional woman that likes to be treated traditionally. And I find men who don't have a problem with treating me traditionally. We like Papados meals over here. Dad, I do like Papados. Papados is my fave. One of my faves. But yes. Um, so yeah, seeing somebody like Brooke get older, seeing her go through her age, she doesn't. You can see her aging. She's what? She's like 60 something now. What? How does Brooke Shields 59? don't know. Let me see how old she is. Okay, Google. How old is Brooke Shields? Brooke Shields is 57 years old. 57. And it was crazy. As soon as you Google her, they not even showing her currently. They are showing her child self. 57 years old. Shady. Which also is kind of disrespectful. Like, you can't even get out of under that. It's crazy. But all right, y'all. Thumbs up. Make sure you watch the documentary. Anything you pick up, come back and chat and put it in the comments. Let me know if you came up with anything else as far as ideas and themes of the documentary. I will chat with y'all later. I'm about to go get me some tacos. So I will chat with y'all later, and yeah. Oh, let me share y'all with this. We talked about this on the show this week. We talked about Monique's special on the show. So if you want to hear my opinion about Monique's special, make sure you check out Marsha's Plates. It is free on all streaming platforms. Some Dr. Samantha Hill talked about kids, the youth, the cases of HIV going up in the youth. So make sure you check that out. Some of the information in that article. Um, yeah, we talked about it on the show, so it's free on all the streaming platforms. But if you want to see the video, it is behind the YouTube membership paywall. Um, Monique is bisexual now. Um, I'm not gonna do a live on that. Yeah, I'm not. But that's also a good special. I enjoyed it. So check that out as well. But I wanted to share that link to that article about how HIV is impacting our youth. So check that out. I think it's a great interview with that Dr. Samantha Hill, Black cis um, doctor, pediatric doctor, and yeah, check it out. All right, I will talk to y'all next Friday. Yeah, on the 21st. Bye bye.